Find out. Hi. Good afternoon. Hey Pam.
Hello.
How
Good
are
to see
you?
you.
Same here. I think we're good on sound, but we're gonna find out very quickly if we're not. So
I can imagine.
when we're outside here, sometimes we get a little play with the elements. And
Hello. We're at Beso in St. George, and we ordered a couple of things here. And actually, I've never had the stuffed plantain.
the Maduro they call it. So this
Maduro?
is oh Pam, this is my favorite thing when I come here.
Well, tell me about it. What is
So
it?
it's stuffed plantain with shredded chicken.
Oh,
And
nice.
kind of like a chipotle sauce, and then they it's sweet, savory. It's like the whole thing.
Nice.
Dig it.
I will.
Well, welcome to Live from Rabs. Today we're on the road, al fresco style. It's Thursday, and yes, and we are talking about food because that's what we love. Well, we talk about food every day. Really.
I gathered that. It's Staten Island. Everything is all culinary related, right?
It certainly is, and yeah, you'll notice that no Nazareth today. So Naz might drop by.
Excellent.
She had a run home for a delivery that was supposed to take place earlier in the day, and she got caught up. So we're hoping that she gets
Hi, Ronald.
from her place up on the hill behind us and makes her way down. So right now it's just you get to endure a little Frank and a little Pam, and this is going to be like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood because Diane Arneth is going to join us today from Community Health Action. Hi, Diane.
Yes, she's here in spirit, and so is Julian. Julian is not able to join us today. Julian Paxelli is the owner of Beso restaurant. I said to Frank, it's kind of risky business to be pointing toward the sidewalk, but we'll see what happens, right? Anybody coming by from a testing or
Anything. Or if you live in the area, come by and drop by and say hello. So today we don't battle the elements of the mechanics, Jimmy and Michael, cleaning and working. We battle the elements of the wonderful outdoors.
Yes.
The helicopter might be looking for us.
It could be. It's very interesting. I was thinking back to some of the stuff in the pandemic, and my secret place, by the way, was going to the Silver Lake Golf Course, which is right by my house, and I'd sneak on and such. And then, but I have to say, and now the golfers are back, but the one thing I cannot get over how the helicopters would hover over free advertising for WB Mason. I couldn't get over how the helicopters would hover because they were, checking for social distancing. And one weekend, it was a beautiful weekend. West Brighton was buzzing, and people were, out and about. And the helicopters were. There was one that was over the golf course, and I felt it was right on top of it.
Oh wow!
So anyway, we just experienced a helicopter going over. Just flashback to those days.
Yeah, you never know what's usually news, or these days it's been a little bit of everything. So
yeah.
You never know. Even by me, we're in a fly path, so we get a lot of it. But in the last 6 months, a lot of helicopters just roaming around, and we're up in Great Hills. There's no reason to be looking for anybody, but you never know.
You never know.
Richmond Terrace is back open.
Oh, good. Yes, so, it was closed for some time in Beso and Freddie and Dean. A couple of places in St. George were affected by that very much. So Shake Shack. That's good that it's open again. The mural is coming up a little bit. Did you notice that?
I didn't. Well, the street paint typically does. Plus it's been hot. So when it's hot, it's hard to be painting. And it is nice out here today.
Yeah, it's very nice.
90 degrees.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. We got ourselves a little white sangria.
Yes. And I am actually going to be on vacation.
Cheers to furlough or vacation.
Yes, furlough. Unfortunately, but
whatever it might be these days.
So you're indulgent. But anyway, this is very nice. Nice choice. We went to Max's Eska last week. I don't know if you joined us, but it was really a lot of fun. Asked some questions here, and I'm curious to know. And hello, Rosemary. And Naz is getting a delivery, and I miss her. She was very nice to be here in person with her at Max's Eska last week. That was nice. And so anyway, let's see. Felicita, you speak Spanish?
Oh, she does. That's Pearl. Pearl works for us at Rabs. We miss you very much so. She tries to teach me Pam. She tried to teach me Spanish. I took Spanish for 7 years in school. I've very like a lick of it is gone. And it's a shame because I would probably, if I used it more, I would use it.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
I rely on Pearl.
I love speaking Spanish, and I love listening to other languages. My dad spoke a number of languages when he was in college, and he learned like Latin and Greek and knew Italian and stuff like that. And anyway, I love languages. And one of the things I try to do is to speak Spanish. Because I don't have any.
He's a good player.
Yeah. So, but we were. It was really. Anyway, when I took Spanish at St. Joseph Academy, I took it from her name was Miss Zapato named Shu. Anyway, so she was wonderful, and but I didn't really understand the language well until I got to speak it conversationally and work alongside Mexican guys in the kitchen, at my restaurant. So that's when I.
And I would imagine you learn everything.
Learn everything. And there was a great song on the radio at the time that was very popular. It was called Tenga la camisa negra. Okay. And it means I wear my black shirt when I'm tired. Freddie, you know that song, Tenga la camisa negra? Is that still popular, that song?
Yeah.
I love that song. It's just, I really love that song.
Are you going to start singing for us today?
No, I'm not a singer, but anyway, I learned some Spanish from that song, so anyway.
That's so funny.
So Diane is joining us today.
So I was going to say I've learned a little Italian over the years, but usually not the good things. I mean, all the grandma and family teach you. But we went to Italy a few years ago, and I did a little of the Babbel on the phone to learn, and I will say it's awesome.
It really
didn't spend enough time in it, but when we went, I had keywords. But thankfully, my brother who speaks Italian was with us, and he got us through. But my Uber rating went down at that point because I didn't take the time to try to speak Italian. And so they were not very happy. But it was a good experience. Most of them speak especially in Rome, they speak so many different languages because of the culture around them. They travel countries like we travel states. So if we spoke different languages here throughout the states, I would imagine it would be the same thing. They just roam country to country like we just travel. It's interesting. I knew that, but when you go there and you see it for yourself, it's totally different.
We'll miss going to any kind of country, right? We're staying in West Brighton this year.
Well, the traveling is off. So
no camp, nothing.
Another week. A couple little blows this week with indoor dining got paused. Yeah. Which we thought here in New York and New Jersey. The crazy part about New Jersey, as many of you know, Governor Murphy put the stall on indoor dining, which at the same time the casinos could still open. Which many of the casinos, some of them have said we're not opening, some of them are still going to open with outdoor dining options, but takeout, it's going to be weird because they're not set up for that.
That's crazy.
Obviously, you can order in the room. There'll be outdoor bars, but you can't bring your beverage into the casino and enjoy it while you're playing.
No, so that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. So we were planning on going to Atlantic City this weekend. Before all that, and so we were like, well, since we can't dine in the restaurant that we walked to and at least enjoy a beverage or two, it's not going to be the same experience. So we said, all right, we'll just wait. So now indoor dining has been halted, but you can go to the casino and you can go to bowling alleys in New Jersey.
That's exciting, but not here.
And not here. We're still in the, I dubbed today, we've been saying the dead phase is when we get to finally open, which is so sad. We want people to be safe. I think that's number one. And so I'm good with that. At the same time, we just need to be working together to get some clarity, which the restaurants thought they had, right? So the argument is restaurants thought they were going to work towards the state. How much inventory did they buy? Are they prepared? They were prepared, and then they get halted. Yeah. I know our governor, we've been saying it, Naz and I have been kind of talking about it. The governor doesn't want to open and then close. And I can respect that. But you can't give me a date to work towards and then shut me down. So it goes both ways.
In fact, Joe O'Toole from Joyce's Tavern was talking about, I guess he had started getting beer in again, like beer kegs. And for some time, you couldn't get kegs because the breweries weren't producing them. And there was really no demand for the kegs. So places like Flagship Brewing Company and the local Hillsborough, which they're both in Tompkinsville, they both produced much canned beer and bottled beer and things like that. Or Hillsborough just does cans. But it's interesting how it really shifted the whole dynamic of supply and demand, and it's fascinating. Like you guys didn't even probably get beer deliveries in the whole time, right?
So we got one delivery. As many of you know, we ordered the Ralph's Ice is Hard seltzer from Flagship,
right?
And we had 12 cases, and they were sold out within a week. We were selling them with pizza deliveries. Wasn't able to get another delivery, but you know what, we bought it when it was hot. People were looking for it, so it was an opportunity to sell something. But sadly, we've had a lot of waste. Beer companies are taking back a lot of product and have taken back a lot of product. But so to his point, if you're going to buy if you're able to even get kegs now, one, you got to check your dates. How long has that product been sitting?
Yeah.
And then if you can't serve it right away, you're getting your tap systems back up and running, which is a challenge for us too.
Right.
So we have everything shut down, unplugged, cleaned, and just waiting. But to get everything back up and running, you're wasting gas and time and energy.
Yep.
So and now it's indefinitely, right? So there's no date we're working towards.
No date. It's really sad. That's one of the reasons why I decided to take my vacation, so to speak, this coming week, because there was just like no movement on anything, and I was like, all right, well.
But you had a busy week. We had a busy week with a lot of restaurants opening for outdoor dining.
Yeah.
This is really cool. We're going to share some photos, but this is to the right of the entrance of Beso is this little alley.
Yeah,
and,
it's pretty cool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Bunch
6,
of tables.
7, 8,
It
9,
actually
10,
reminds me of
tables.
eating in like Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I wish Nazareth were here because
she's bummed because she loves coming.
Aww.
This is one of her favorite places to be. I believe they did come here though the other night.
Oh, nice.
She was planning on coming. I don't know if they actually came. What did she say?
Calamari.
Eat? That's what it's here for. So we have calamari.
Calamari.
Although we're here in a Spanish restaurant, so it would be calamari.
Calamari.
And of course guacamole. Now it's not tableside guacamole like you get in some other places, but their guac is pretty good.
It looks delicious. Everything looks great. They make their homemade chips. Very nice. The calamari has like a cornmeal coating on it. It's very good. It's not salty, which I like. And it's got this really nice zesty tartar sauce that's homemade.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had the calamari.
It's good. It's good. I like fish with cornmeal on it. And let's see here. Anybody?
We ask if you've been dining out, and we want to know where.
Yes.
And we've been asking this question all week, but now people have actually been venturing out. So tell us where you've dined out, and because we really do want to know, and we want to hear your stories. And I've seen some friends who have dined at our friends. Cousin Lois is watching. She told us she went to Lee's this week.
Is Lois Churchola your cousin?
She is.
Get out of here.
Yeah, she's cousins through
That's
my Uncle Eddie's family. Listen, when you're family, your family. It doesn't make a difference who's married to who. But yeah, cousin Lois, she's my cousin.
I never knew that.
She said she went to Lee's. I haven't gotten pizza from Lee's yet, so I'm like itching. That's one of the places. We went to La Strada this past week.
Oh.
And
so yeah, he has it in the back. I have to
so
go there and check it out.
Yeah, so if you come around the back behind the vet and Coastal, he's got his parking lot, which originally I think Anthony was looking at using.
Yeah.
But there's a pad that Coastal has for storage, and it's this really nice concrete pad, kept very well. There's nothing there because they had multiple locations and were storing stuff there. And now that they're not using it for storage, Anthony's using it for outdoor dining.
That's great.
They work together to use it, and they've got tables, chairs, umbrellas, some plants. It looks really nice.
Very smart.
It's because there's a challenge I would think for a lot of these restaurants because they're not covered. They got to start bringing stuff in depending on the location and what kind of table they're using. If they're using their existing dining room tables, they're not really made for outdoors, so they're going to be bringing them in and storing. So I think they're currently doing, which is a lot more work.
Oh yeah.
But it depends on the place. This is more outdoor furniture here, which is good.
Yeah.
Which
very
could
nicely
easily
set up.
stacked it and move. Where at Eska's it's kind of a mix. It seems when we were there.
Yeah, it was hot. I mean, like it's just been hot these last couple of weeks. So restaurant owners like Jimmy Max, Jimmy McBride, you were saying that it was just so torridly hot. It was very uncomfortable. But also, another weird thing, not weird, but I really admire the fact that restaurants are able to set up, in the street and how they've done it so creatively. But at the same time, some of the setups are a little dangerous. I don't know. I was on Van Duzer Street the other day, and I was like, for a hop shop, and it was like.
Well, and are they in the street?
Right in the street, and it's such a busy section there, So
it's really a one-lane street with parking.
Yeah.
So tell me, the speed bumps on Van Duzer, that are etched out for bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're perfect width for a car, so there's no point of having speed bumps there.
Mow down that bicyclist. I know. There are things that mechanics might do.
Is he the only one that's open there?
He's the only one on that strip because Doozer's local went out of business. Vita went out of business. And the only place that's open really is Pastry Lover's Choice in Stapleton. And we have Honor Wines, and there's Hop Shop. And they have a setup on two sides. They have one on Beach Street there, and also on Van Duzer. So anyway, but it's interesting because like Kettle Black thought to put either a vehicle or a giant concrete slab, like as a bumper, which I thought was pretty smart.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, some of these places have not done any of that.
I know.
I mean, they're just the little partitions, which for your safety, I would be I'm a little concerned, especially if I'm sitting in the street, which I was on Forest Avenue and witnessed that. And I was like, oh, wait a second, that could be a challenge.
Yeah.
So hopefully people are staying safe and doing what they can by being out there.
Oh my. You got to do what you got to do, right? To set up for business. So.
This week, any new restaurants open up for outdoor dining that weren't open, or anything new that kind of pop up in this past week?
There's a lot of stuff. How Creek it is in Granite City. They set up a tent outside. The nice people there, Dimitri and Sophia. How Creek it is. They set up.
Oh, yeah, on Highland Boulevard. Yeah, across from White Castle.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Not weird, but like, wow, they can do that. I thought the La Strada setup, the way you're describing it, is very, very cool.
Yeah.
Brioso is taking a stab at it. A lot of people are. I mean, like, it's Piece of Cake on New York Lane. A lot of places on New York Lane, which is nice.
And speaking of that announcement came yesterday or today,
right,
that they're going to close off Plaza to. Is it going to go all the way just to Clawson or to Highland Boulevard?
It's going to go, I think, all the way to Highland Boulevard.
So they'll close it off Friday and Saturday, Saturday.
On the weekends. Yeah, Friday, Saturday. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I have an issue with stopping traffic patterns. I'm like, my background is actually
we were talking about that last
urban
week,
planning, and I think that especially after something as traumatic as a pandemic, I don't know if that does a business like the other businesses that are in food businesses. Like on New York Lane, I don't know how they would manage this because they rely on the pedestrian traffic as well. But that's just my opinion. But in any case, the other thing that is sort of interesting, like about this whole pandemic too, is that like there's shortages here and there. There's Tommy Byer from Byers Market was saying that there was a shortage of napkins, like dinner napkins. At one point we had a shortage of toilet paper, and at one point a shortage of yeast. So
is it on the meat side? Is that real? Is that really what we're going to deal with over the next, I would imagine, 6 to 12, maybe 18 months?
Well, it's a weird situation because as restaurants kind of rev up again, we were talking about, more demand from the restaurants. And so, like, you can't get local produce. The further south you go, like, it changes in Philadelphia, but in New York, in the New York area, there's such demand from the restaurants lately, anticipating opening for, phase 3 or whatever. That didn't happen. But still, with the al fresco, there's a little bit more volume. So the supply and demand dynamic is completely screwed up.
Yeah.
So you can't go to. My husband, for instance, has a business. Like on Wednesdays, he sells like produce. He started doing this because we had access to produce from the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx, and so we would have these large shipments of stuff, divvy it up, and then everybody would chip in like $20. He'd bake a loaf of bread and such. And our kitchen is licensed by the state. So anyway, it was sort of something to do in the whole pandemic, and we noticed that the vegetables, Hunts Point Market had a very crazy situation happen. There were a lot of places went out of business. They laid off a lot of staff, and family only started working the businesses. And so, it was a strange shift in dynamic in that. A lot of long-time places went out of business. Baldor, which is a very, very high-end, produce and a big supplier, they were, they couldn't move their products, basically. Yeah, it's like,
it's a shame.
I can't even imagine, because that's like, to me, that's like the be-all, end-all of produce from them.
And have you been in? I'm assuming you've been in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing.
Yeah, it's a rabbit warren of, they just set up like, and it's like vendor on top of vendor. And that was another thing, is that because the vendors are so close, like there and at the Fulton Fish Market, there was concern that there was going to be spread of the disease among workers, which is what happened in China, originally in Wuhan. I believe it started in the fish market.
Yeah.
And the proximity of people is.
It's the unknown, right?
The unknown.
It's what they say.
Can you imagine this? I visited my grandmother yesterday for the first time. She's 101, and she's lived. She was born at the beginning of the end of the pandemic of 1918, And my grandmother, who is from Brooklyn, she was from England, Southampton, England. She was a domestic there. Basically, they were very meticulous and fastidious about cleaning, especially with vinegar, and
Sure.
and being very healthy. Like they, not like me, but I mean, they would never smoke and they didn't drink soda and things like that.
She's 101.
Yeah.
God bless.
And she wouldn't keep the mask on. She kept ripping the mask off. So the people at the
certain
nursing home
things you
were
just
like,
can't do,
"Sorry."
right? There's certain things you can't teach them or trick them because they're smarter than everybody else.
Yes.
They've been doing it for a very long time,
Yes.
and God bless them.
She's 101. She can do whatever she wants.
She should be smoking, drinking, whatever she wants to
Exactly.
do.
Using Pond's cold cream. That's what she does. That's all she asks for every time I visit her.
But does she, as a kid growing up, remember, like, as a result of that, I mean, she was a baby, so, but later on, does she remember kind of what took place after, or how we lived through it all? Like, that was the norm for her, but reflecting on it, does she remember any of it? Did she ever talk about it?
Not really. The thing that she remembers, actually, when I saw her yesterday, and I haven't seen her since February, I haven't seen her since like February 27th. And the nursing home was very nice. It was in New Jersey. It's in New Jersey, and they staggered the times so that every family, got a shot at seeing her. I got like one of the first slots. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get that. So I went yesterday, and it's only half an hour, and you had to socially distance and wear the mask, and they were very fastidious about the mask and exactly where you could sit. Very interesting how they handled it. But anyway, it was. She was the one memory that she had was not of any kind of pandemic or germs or anything like that. She was more focused on the positive because she's out with my mother, and which is her daughter, and we focused on the happiest times of her life. And she was very happy. She worked at Macy's Herald Square, and with her sister, my Aunt Alice. And at one point, my Aunt Alice, my grandmother, and my mother, who worked in gift wrapping, they were all commuting to Macy's from East Flatbush at the same time. So those were my grandmother's fondest memories.
That's cool. I had a great aunt that worked there.
Oh yeah.
She had, sadly, my grandmother's sisters, I knew them as kids, but they all died young. But one of them had worked in Herald Square as well. You say gift wrapping. I'm going to have to ask my aunt and my mother because sounds very familiar too.
I know this is very old school, but if you can gift wrap and not use a lot of tape, like you just use a smidgen of tape, you can do that. That's such an old school thing.
That's a gift. Between folding and cutting to the right size is the first gift, and then being able to tuck and tape, without a doubt. I love watching like old school, or going to the paper store and you bring something for them to wrap. I was in California for a wedding and brought everything with me, but I wasn't going to bring it wrapped by the time you go. So I had to went to the paper store, and I've done this before, but I just watched and marveled. And a young person too, but somebody trained them to truly to wrap it. So it's pretty. It's a craft. Without a doubt.
It is a craft. Interesting, like you fold it so there's no seams.
Yeah.
And in a deli too. I guess they do that.
It's like pasta making or anything else. Wontons and dumplings. I mean, that's hard. I love watching them make. I've done it. Us at home making those things is not the same. When making a wonton, you take it, you fold it and crimp it. I mean, you look at it and go, well, how do they do that in the restaurant with the same size wonton? And then you're making a dumpling and you're watching them do it like this.
It's incredible, right?
Or soup dumplings. Have they ever had soup dumplings?
Oh my gosh, I love soup dumplings. I miss them.
Right, so where's your favorite? So if you're going, where do you go to have them? Because you can't have them everywhere.
On Staten Island, they're non-existent on Staten Island. I mean, I guess a soup dumpling is the little thing. They're quiet today.
I said they're quiet today. I called them out on it. They're really quiet today.
Anyway, but soup dumplings, they have a little bit of fat, like hard fat, in the base where the meat is. Okay, and so that's the drop of soup. So basically, when it heats up in the hot broth, the fat goblet melts, and then when you take the soup dumpling, you take it in one bite, and it goes.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's a science. You pick them up, you bite into it, put it in a spoon. You have to. I mean, it's careful because you can just pick them up and rip them. So if you're going to Chinatown, where are you going for soup dumplings?
I can't remember the name of the place. Shanghai dumpling.
Joe Shanghai. Well, Joe Shanghai is one.
Shanghai dumpling, I believe, is on the corner of, I want to say, it's right near Columbus Park.
Yeah.
They're closed on Tuesdays, and it always alarms me because I happen to drive through Manhattan on Tuesdays, and they're closed. I'm like, oh my God, they closed, but they didn't.
We like Joe Shanghai, which is now changed. The chef bought the place. Joe sold it to the chef. I had this right before the beginning of the pandemic. We talked about this, about the Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was real. They were really concerned. But the day it was the Lunar New Year parade, and a couple of us went over to Manhattan Ferry. It was quiet as can be. It was the best experience ever. We walked in. There was one of the couple.
Incredible.
They took care of us like we were king and queen.
Really?
Soup dumplings.
What day of it was, like February?
Yes, it might have been a Sunday night. It had to be a Sunday night because it was the parade was in the afternoon. The street was still a mess. They were cleaning it up. So when we walked in, I was asking about business, and I said, "Oh, where is everybody? Too many people partied today?" And he said, "No, the coronavirus has scared people out from dining in Chinatown."
Incredible.
And my favorite part of it, we ordered. I love bok choy, so I had ordered some marinated steamed bok choy. And he goes, "Oh, I don't have any bok choy, but I had baby cabbage. It's the same." Okay, sure. What came out on the plate? If he didn't tell me that it was different from bok choy, I wouldn't have known. It
Really?
was basic. Yeah, I guess traditional bok choy, the leaves are going to be longer, and the baby cabbage is just going to be smaller with smaller leaves. But if he didn't say, I would have never known. But he took the time. But on a busy to tell us, but on a busy day, I don't think he would have told us. I think he would have just put it on the table,
Probably.
and you wouldn't have known the difference.
Interesting.
Yeah, who knew?
And where did you go? Joe Shanghai?
It's not Joe Shanghai anymore, but it's that same location on Pell Street.
Okay.
Go there all the time. They have great crispy beef too.
Okay.
I'm not a big crispy beef person, but that's a place that I just want soup dumplings. Give me soup dumplings and vegetables,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm happy. I get it. But nobody here does them. Jade Asian does them.
I don't know if she does the actual soup dumplings, but she does the. You know who does kind of? It's East Pacific in the Staten Island Mall.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they reopen.
I know.
My goodness, Staten Island Mall's been closed all this time.
Yeah, and they were. We would order in and eat there too in a great place. A little different, more Asian, more non-traditional. I would say fusion, so to speak, Thai fusion type food. Always very good, great service. If you go there ahead of time, you want to order crabs or lobster, he'll get them for you and serve them. But I just soup dumplings. So we have to find a place that will make them here and we can enjoy them.
Oh yeah, I'm betting on, because you know what, at Asian East Pacific, and also Precious Island, they reopened.
Okay.
I don't even know if they're open.
I don't know. Got my hood.
I'm trying to take inventory of the places that are open. That's very difficult. It's like, it's like waking up after a dream.
Well, you have a list that it looks like you've been sharing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce recently shared a list, but the borough president's office is doing this campaign, Eat Outside, Dine, or whatever they're calling it.
Oh, nice.
But there's a spreadsheet that they've all been updated. I mean, we just probably got to combine them all.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's one list, there's another list, and on the Chamber's website, if you look up all the members, you'll see who has outdoor dining, and
right.
So they've taken the time to update the profile, which is great if you want to go on there. I don't know how many people go on the website to actually look for local businesses. I want to hope that people do, but it's there. But somebody still has to update and say we're open for outdoor dining. Because nothing's worse than saying we're open and then they're not open.
Right.
Or a place. I didn't think that Michael's Meatballs and Martinis always had outdoor dining.
Right.
Didn't look like they were going to open, but I saw some activity this past week, so I'm assuming
They've been open the whole time.
They would do a takeout and delivery for sure, but they didn't open the outdoor right away.
No, it's interesting. That's one of the places that the format of to go is tough to do because their mainstay is martinis.
Small plates and martinis.
But at Venom, they did a wonderful job with the to go format because they were actually doing cocktails, and they did a whole wine program, wine tastings, and they were the first ones to do it. Also, which is nice too, Trattoria, in Alticville, Trattoria,
Toscana.
No. I can't think of it. It's right next to Demonte's, almost.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In Alticville.
I don't know.
Not Amici. Anyway, so.
There's Giovanni's.
Giovanni's. Let's see what his sangria does to me. So Giovanni's Trattoria in Elgin on Richmond Avenue, they also have virtual wine. They had virtual wine tastings. They did something nice for Mother's Day and such. But Anthony Rappaciulo also started a drive-in movie theater with Catholic Charities at Loretto. The Juicy Lucy drive-in movie theater starts tomorrow.
Oh,
and
cool.
Their first movie is New Hope. It's a Star Trek movie. They also have Jaws, which I thought would be really cool outside. Eventually they'll have Jaws, and they have family movies like Grease, which sounds like it would be great in a drive-in movie format, and then Grease and also Independence Day. They're all sold out, so
Well, we're telling you about it, but you can't go buy tickets. So if you want to buy tickets, don't buy tickets.
It looks like you can buy the tickets on the website. But he says
We'll be scalping tickets.
He says that they're not open, or they're not selling anymore. But the whole summer they'll be doing that on. They have all different movie times, and it's $25 a car.
That's great.
And
now, are they forcing you? Are they forcing you to buy from them on their menu? Is there food included in the ticket price? Is there like a bundle, or just come and do whatever you want to do?
It's come, bring your carload of people, and hopefully you buy their food and drink.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the challenge for a place like that. Of course, you want people to come here and support the efforts, but at the same time, that people are so. By the time it's dark out, you get there for 7. You get there 7:30. Probably can't get the movie on until 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Right.
Really depending, because now that it takes a while to get dark.
It's funny because they had movie times at noon, which I thought was fascinating.
And listen, if they've got it set up where they can cover it, or the sun isn't directing them, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it'll be good. Did you have? I have to tell you, some of the memes of the day that you've had have been very funny. I love the one that had to set up Italian restaurants.
We have some. Right. So actually, since you brought it up, we actually have a couple today. So I have two that I'm going to. Well, I actually have three, but I'm going to share one. So this is the first one. So Naz and I showed this to Naz yesterday. So we keep talking about the masks and how people walk around with their masks. So here's one of Governor Cuomo. This is a mask.
Oh my gosh.
This is a chin guard. Nobody told you to wear a chin guard. Wear a mask. And he's been on that kick this past week for sure.
Oh
and I came across this one today, which I thought was absolutely hysterical and certainly fits. So this is someone, I don't know where they are, but they're dining somewhere.
Sure.
Isn't that funny?
That's very funny. That's hilarious.
So the string tied to the hand and just controlling it.
That's great. It works.
I don't think they heard you because
I thought that contraption would work very well on the South Shore. I can actually see it, like in Eltonville, like at the Campagna. I can see it at Campagna at the bar.
We're not saying anything about our friends.
Oh no, I love them. I love them.
But it's so true. And we talk about throughout the country, there are different regulations on wearing the masks, not wearing the masks. And there's no hats on the table. It's what Kevin noticed from the video. Don't put your hat on the table. It's not polite.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My hat's not on the table.
No, not you. The guy in the video.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that part.
So there's all this. There's different laws and rules about wearing the masks in public. And so here in a restaurant, you couldn't wear it. But here in New York, I think it's pretty defined. You can't. You're supposed to wear it in the common area. We're sitting here, and when you're amongst your people, fine. Employees have to wear masks. And then if we were to use the restroom, we're supposed to put our mask on and use the restroom.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what part of the problem is here on Staten Island. We're seeing people not necessarily following that; they're just getting up and going. And what we're supposed to do when you get to a common area, put the mask on.
Right.
But throughout the country, it's very different. So there are lots of arguments. In the state of Oregon, it's not really spelled out. So we're talking to a friend who's at the bowling Friday there. So bowling is open, and you could argue whether or not you should be wearing it while bowling. So they're in court trying to talk about how there's strenuous activity. And so strenuous activity, you shouldn't be wearing a mask. So you don't have to wear it in the gym, but you have to wear it in the restaurant or bowling. But it's not defined no matter what you're doing. You said we see everything when we're sitting with this is cool.
It's very funny.
We like people watching. I mean, Pam, if anybody knows, our viewers know, come to Rabs Country Living on any day, the best people watching ever.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. Better than Showtime. Showtime.
Definitely some good people watching for sure.
Yeah.
And that's at the mall. Well, I sat out here one day, the Empire Outlets we went, and I just sat there. I had gotten coffee, and
it's like tons of tourists, which is interesting.
Everything.
I'm really bad here, but I'm kind of like enjoying this very much.
That's what we got it for.
Guacamole is a nice little cilantro touch in there. Good. A lot of onion.
I love their guac is really good. Theirs and Sophia's. Sophia's makes a really good guacamole. They do it table side, but that's their thing.
They have 4 different kinds of citrus in there.
Really?
And Sophia's guac.
In all of the guacs?
In all of the guacs. Can you guess the 4 citrus?
I'm going to assume lemon, lime, orange, and that's 3. There's 4 citrus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Not off the top of my head. It's not happening.
You'll never get this. Yuzu, which is like, I guess a grapefruit almost.
Yeah.
And also something called a calamansi. Calamansi juice is basically like a Filipino lime.
Okay.
And it's almost like a key lime, so it's very sweet. So calamansi.
And they use the juices.
They use the juices, yeah. I guess they get the concentrated juices or whatever, but they, it's very complex. They,
I love that they have this spicy one. It's hot, spicy. I don't know what to call it. It's not overly spicy, but it is absolutely delicious. Other peppers got some nice peppers in it and whatever. And then you could also go there and have any sort of hot sauce you want, right? You've got all this labels of hot sauce and tequilas, of course. Here, I love coming here for margaritas and sangrias, pictures of sangria. And I'm not a big sangria drinker. I don't find them overly sweet here. Some places just load them with juice and sugar and garbage. I like to taste the wine. And
I like the taste of wine too. Yeah, these are very good. They're not too sweet and cloying, I guess. I'm just curious, what in the pandemic, and also if the readers can mention this too, I think back to what the darkest times of the pandemic were, kind of what got me through it. And, a friend of mine brought up the other day, Diary of Anne Frank, when you're in close proximity to people, when there's nothing like that, where, you had a couple of families that were cooped up together. But my children are, still a little affected by it. They don't necessarily want to go out. We did go to Royal Crown Bakery the weekend. It was kind of a mind-blowing experience because you could smell things, and you could smell like bakery and the crusty bread and things like that. And my son noticed, oh wow, just to get him to get out of the house because he wasn't going in. He didn't want to get out of the car, going to a deli or supermarket. So he was like, I can't believe this. It smells like Disney World, and very interesting. So
because you haven't had it for so long, so when you finally get to have it, that makes sense. That's another place that's very busy. On that outdoor.
But they closed. Patio. They closed for a while. They closed for about 2.5, 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. All their bakeries did. Tolentino in Eltonville.
Right. And it's old Chicken Holiday, right on Richmond and Buena.
Right. Yeah.
We we order lunch. We get lunch from there a lot of times.
I love Tolentino.
Their bread is bar none.
Oh yeah.
And it's different. It's not your traditional. It's really not your traditional. They have traditional Italian bread, but their regular hero bread or their rolls are just not what you get everywhere else.
I think it's the hand that makes the bread, but also Tolentino and Royal Crown and Artisan Bakery Group, which is down on Sherritt's, on the other end of Sherritt's, below Arthur Kill Road. I think that it's just the flour. They use a really special flour that they import from Italy, and I think it's kind of got a lot of gluten in it, so it's a very distinct effect.
So not for everybody, of course.
Not for everybody.
I feel bad for people that can't enjoy gluten, so to speak. And of course, it's created within their process at the same time. Whatever comes together and makes it melt together.
I tried following a gluten-free diet for about 4 months.
How'd that go for you?
Not well. It's just an impossible diet. Because gluten's in everything. It's in sticks. It was an eye-opener. To see what was in it. Some soups, canned soups. It's really everything.
And the canned stuff, right? It's certainly the preservative, so who knows what
it's a thickener, it's in everything.
And it's funny because that's funny, but you see a lot of marketing and products. They say they're gluten free, and they never had gluten in them. For example, like the Wisps cheese crisps from Costco that come in the bag. All it is Parmesan cheese. It's baked.
Oh.
Of course, there's no gluten in it but it says gluten free on it. People either they're following a diet, they don't know any better, but they've had to label things specifically gluten free.
Oh, interesting.
But if you have to follow that diet, I think by some point you know what you should or should eat.
My kids have a friend who is so gluten intolerant. He does not eat anything at our house. He won't eat anything that's like if we get a pizza from like Cafe Milano that's the gluten-free pizza. It comes on its own tray, and he will not use any of the cutlery, nothing in the house. It's just amazing. So and then won't take any beverage unless it's already sealed and it's like a Gatorade or some kind of known brand. It's fascinating too.
It's tough too. Fortunately, it's not something that I have to worry about, but you just never know. No substitutions. So you're talking about Royal Crown. No substitutions at that place. The sandwich is the sandwich. But I mean, I just create my own sandwich. I don't order off the menu. I just tell them, hey, I want this, and this, and they do whatever they want. But I guess if Kevin's talking about the menu of all the different sandwiches, I would imagine.
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh,
it's terrible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie.
You're welcome.
Freddie's trying to tell us something. And Dorothy says the sangria looks good. It is delicious. And I'm not typically a white sangria person, but we're sitting outside, and you started the trend, so why not? Oh, the one on Sharrett's that he's talking about, which I've never been in that location.
It's a weird location. It's very cool though. It's like you go down Sharrett's Avenue, and all of the people who live in the area know where to go. And you go and you get online. It's usually a line, pandemic or not. Out the door, 20 people deep. It's really a great place. And they have the Rosso, which is their the balsamic vinegar that they make. And that's, I guess, sort of like...
It's a candy.
Yeah, that stuff's delicious.
It's not healthy.
A bazillion calories for...
I don't know how much sugar. And we like to make it ourselves at home. But I mean, you're not really adding to it. You're just basically taking balsamic vinegar and boiling it up to get... But they have, unless it's the vinegar that they're using, but it feels like it's like sugar. They have to be adding something.
I don't know. If you make that right, and you cook that thing down, and you cook balsamic vinegar down, it will taste like that. The thing is that we used to do this at the restaurant once a week at our restaurant, an American Grill. And we used to start with a big pot, and it would take literally all day on a very low flame. And by the time the thing was done, it was like this big thick syrup, and you had to get it into the squeeze bottle. And it had to be a certain, hi Diane, it had to be a certain thickness, viscosity, I guess, in order for it to come out of the squeeze bottle.
Right.
But it was, delicious.
So is there a trick? Do you find it? Because I had a friend of mine, I don't know if Chrissy's watching, but she called me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we're trying to make a glaze. What do we do? And I said, listen, I've done it, but I let it low and slow, so to speak, and just let it boil and go. And she just kept burning on them, or maybe they had it too high. I said, just let it be. Did you add anything to it? No. I said, not too much. Hi.
Hi, Diane.
It's like Mr. Roger's neighborhood. Come on in. Have a seat.
I won't hug you, but let me stand and acknowledge you. Hello.
Good to see you. How are you today? Welcome to the party. We're just talking about balsamic vinegar and making a glaze. So do you find that there's a trick?
Just cooking it down. So it stinks up the house.
The whole house smells
Makes your hair smell and walls smell. It's worth it. It's right. Yeah.
So Diane, thanks for joining us today.
Would you like to try some?
Please help yourself.
Oh, that is so good.
For those who don't know, Diane's been on the show with us before. Actually, Diane, you were one of our first guests in the beginning, and Diane is the Executive Director, CEO of Community Health Action at Staten Island. Welcome to the party. Just speak up in case you're battling the elements of the beautiful outdoors here.
I've seen the truck in front of the berry homes quite a bit. Is it like regularly going there, or the food truck?
Yes. So our mobile food pantry actually goes to 16 different neighborhoods.
Oh wow!
The berry homes is one of the places that goes twice a month there.
I feel like I see it there often. Like I'm always quite by it over there.
It must be the days you travel
there.
There
are a couple places I see it. I see it in New York, and then I see it outside the berry, so it depends on the day. And they're awesome. There's always availability at the list to tell you when and where. But I talk about that because I think it's important for people to know the availability of a mobile food pantry, let alone the food pantry you have on the terrace. But you're out and about and serving the community. I don't know if people realize it's available.
Yeah, so we have a fixed site mobile pantry that's at 2134 Richmond Terrace, and it's open 4 days a week for food distribution. And then we have our mobile food pantry, which is a mobile truck that goes to 16 different neighborhoods in the course of a month. It usually goes twice a month to different neighborhoods, and the calendar is actually on our website, which is jazzyny.org. So people can actually go there and get food for their families if they're, having difficulty making ends meet, especially with people having lost employment and people having their employment decreased.
Have you seen an increase in?
An increase is not the word.
Really?
It's been enormous. Four times the number of people at our food pantry than we saw before
Really?
COVID. Yeah.
Wow, you're set up. You're set up to be able to serve so many people, and you could serve a lot of people there, but that had to take a big toll on.
Well, we ended up having to do things differently because in the past our food pantry was what's called a client choice, where people could sort of shop and then pick the food items that they know their families eat, that they know they know how to make, and they can pick and choose. But you had to go to this, and then we went to outside distribution as well.
Would you like a sangria?
I'll pass. I'm actually good technically at work.
We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, but somebody will see it. Thank you. So now we went to an outside distribution where we're just giving people a lot of food, and they line up and they're not shopping anymore. We're just giving them what we have. And we have a food bank of New York City. It's been fabulous. They've given us a tremendous amount of extra food. We've gotten donations from Fresh Direct in New York City. So we've had enough food, but we went from serving 100, 120 people in a 4-hour session to up to some days we had 500 people.
Oh my gosh, that's gotta be tough with the social distancing.
Well, we try to social distance on the line, and all our staff all wear masks and everything. And I mean, knock on wood, all the staff that work with the team, no one.
Oh wow, that's great. I was fascinated by some of the stories that came out of this, like the Christian Pentecostal Church on G Street. They went up to about 700 or 800 people on the line, and because of the social distancing, the line was literally wrapped around the corner, and for about 400 or 500 feet.
We were wrapped around Corbett Street, all the way down the terrace up Maple.
I was going to say,
around the corner.
I just drove by there yesterday, so I can see that driveway, and then people. Is the volume still the same today?
It actually started to decrease a little bit, which I'm hoping indicates that some people are getting back to work. And we'll continue to feed all the people that come. So we're working in partnership with Food Bank and City Harvest, other partners.
What's been the biggest challenge for you guys, even maybe still continuing today, for the folks that you serve?
Well, the biggest challenge is really the economic impact of this on people's lives. I mean, it's so many people have been impacted by loss in jobs and loss of income, and it's not easy to make up. And we're still not sure. We're still not sure what's going to be open, and when people are going to get back to work. People have not paid their rent, and except it's not that you're forgiven your rent. It's just
Can't pay it.
You can't pay it, and you're allowed to not pay it, but you're going to owe it. When things come back to whatever new normal is. And, I'm really concerned. And on top of that, all of the social services that could help people through this are losing funding because of the state and city tax revenue losses. I mean, I just went through the city budget, and so far we've been cut $125,000. But I haven't seen everything.
What's the percentage of
That's only part of it. So some of my city council money has been cut by about 17%.
Wow.
and that's not all my city. I have other city.
Sure.
members who
Like different agencies and different
Yeah, so I don't know the full impact. I was able to look at part of the city budget in the last 2 days, and we've got almost 17% cut.
Wow.
And that's to things like, opioid overdose prevention.
Well, because that didn't go on vacation.
No,
And then sadly I feel, and we've kind of made this joke that, even, and it's not really a joke, but it's during the COVID crisis and the pandemic, you couldn't have surgery, you couldn't do certain things. So cancer was on vacation.
Right.
Opioid crisis is on vacation. But so
Except it's not.
It's not. Right. Well, that's right. So now the effects of that, not being able to get access to things or service folks becomes an issue. So what does that look like tomorrow? And I would imagine, are you seeing, like, on the mental health side?
Oh.
I mean, I would imagine we're seeing some, but I can't imagine it's coming. I know it's coming, so I can't imagine what we've seen today is what it looks like 6, 12, 18 months from now.
Well, again, I mean, the social isolation, the loss of income, the loss of jobs, kids being, cooped up in their house for months. All of this contributes to an incredible stress and strain on people's mental health.
Right.
So, we're not seeing, we're seeing some impact. We're not seeing the full impact, and people aren't out for us to see the impact either. So, there's all these concerns that are swirling around that we're going to have to address. And one of the things that has come up recently in discussions in the health sector is that children aren't getting their vaccinations.
Oh.
People were not bringing kids to the doctor because
So true.
But first of all, the doctors were only seeing COVID, and
Right.
people were nervous. So we know that the City Department of Health on a recent call told us that childhood vaccinations were down 60 or 70%.
Wow.
Which is and if you think about infants who, the vaccination schedule is very close to one another, we get it 3 months, 6 months. They're already on the road to being now at risk for some of these other diseases. So actually, there's a group on Staten Island being pulled together by Pearl Hall talking about how we might be able to do something to ramp that up and to address the fact that some people are just afraid to go to the doctor, to the clinic to get this. So we may be trying to bring vaccinations to people. Some sort of vaccination project.
We have mobile units. You're
I
already doing it. So how do you
that's
take?
what we're talking about. So we've been in conversation with Pearl Hall
And the community health action's been doing that for how long? That's not new for you, right?
No,
So you've paved the way to allow that to happen. I've seen the buses, and you've got these new fancy ones, but I mean the old one, that blue and white one, was out there all the time and servicing people in every community that you can, especially those that are underserved. So how they take what you've done, and I'm assuming that's a conversation you're having based on what you're saying.
Oh yeah, we're having those conversations.
I have to say that community health action is so incredibly helpful today. In a very dark time, we have a woman who's been very close to our family. With the whole Obamacare thing, long story short, we couldn't get insurance, and you helped us, you connected us, and that was, your staff is lovely. I have to say, and they speak all different languages. They spoke to her in Polish. That was quite amazing. So I learned so much from that whole experience.
It's good. It's good to hear. It's
Yeah.
good to get good reviews.
Yeah.
Just like restaurants.
Like a 5-star review on Yelp to community health action.
Wonderful. It's like navigating through dark.
Pam Silvestri, good review.
It is true. It's Diane Arneth, good review.
I mean, it used to be
Wonderful.
silver spoon. They used to use spoons in the advance when you did your full reviews.
Oh yeah, that's right. At one
The
point,
number of schools, or was it actual?
yeah, I think it was like chef hats at one point. Yeah. And when I started there, I did a 5 stars, which was like this. Forget it. If I could do it all over again, I would just get it a 4-star system and
But why
done
did I
with
get a
it.
5-star? But if it's a
Yeah.
5-star system or a 4-star system, you didn't give me a 5. You didn't give me 5 stars, but if you didn't give me 4 stars, the same argument's going to happen.
Oh, that's
Why
true.
didn't I get 4 stars?
Oh.
But you gave me 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're better off not giving any.
So, but 5 stars, community health action.
Thank you, Pam.
That was great. That was good stuff.
And we our folks have been awesome over the years. We do food drives, and every time the shopping cart goes out, they just come in droves, and they just every week they come bowling and they drop stuff. So having been to the pantry several times, you just get to see it firsthand. So and being able to know that and refer people to it. So now you can refer someone, hey, you need the service. Hey, I know that they offer this. But having it seen firsthand, just see clients come in the door and of all different things when you're down there. It really isn't. It's a sad experience to an extent, but it's a great experience to see that there's this organization up there helping these folks.
I was always impressed by how well handled the food is. I shouldn't say well handled, but like nicely managed the food has been. Like I observed some of the distribution of the truck, and everything's like, you know, it's supposed to be frozen is frozen. And there's a protein that's like separate. I don't know. It's just like I respect it.
DOH does have. We do have inspectors, and people have to get food in and like work in a pantry. So, but I'm glad to hear that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
They're excellent.
But the boss can't be everywhere. So if you're here on, have you been traveling to the office in Manhattan? Is that something you have to during the time you've been working?
Well, no, and I've been working in my office here on Bay Street, so I'm here in Bay Street all by my little self. You know, I'm because all the operations people are working in finance and HR. But although we're starting to work on having people come back to work, we're bringing people in gradually. It's a whole new experience to be at work now with all these new rules, regulations. I walked in today and there's this huge plexiglass thing sitting on my secretary's desk. I'm like, whoa! I mean, she's not in; she's still working from home. I was like, oh, look at that.
How do I feel about that?
How do I feel about it?
I can't even imagine being back in the office. Like our office is not opening up until September, and then there's a little bit of pushback from some of the people on the staff because collaborate. You'd like to see your colleagues, and like I miss it. And they also just redid the building, so it's a beautiful office. And, I feel like I'm kind of missing out on that. But I mean, I can't even imagine. We've gone through flu seasons and cold seasons. Everybody gets sick at the same time, and so it's like it's better off. But I can't even imagine going through the flu season again in an office, and I don't know if I'm going to actually work in the office so much anymore.
That's a really good point. So think about this: before this pandemic, when you if you didn't feel good, you still went to work. I mean, the only thing I think people, if you have a fever, I think that's one of the things that might keep you home, because that's just a different feeling. Like you don't want to move, you just like laying in bed. But depending on the illness, but if you have a common cold, a sinus infection, you're typically getting up and going out. And because all of us are so important to operate whatever our job and our business is.
We always think we're so important.
Well, that's my point.
That's what I keep saying to people. You're not that important because you can't stay home when you're sick.
Right. Well, that's my point. And so, it's just funny where back in January, I believe they had this or the form of it. Now, I had the antibodies test and said negative, but that doesn't mean anything. That was 6 months ago. But I was on my couch using an inhaler for a month. Like, it was just weird. I've never gone through that. But normally I would want to go, I would get up, but I couldn't get up and go to work. So in the beginning I was like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal, right? But no, it is. So now everybody's going to be retrained to an extent. All right, I'm really not going to go to work now because I shouldn't have gone to work before.
But wait a minute.
I'm not going to go.
It gets
but is that
worse.
really going to happen?
What I found, I never take sick days. I haven't taken sick days in years.
So how many have you built up over that time?
Well, you lose them, or you get like 25, and that's it, for whatever reason. But the point is that like I have been really, really sick, and on deadline, and I still produce the story, and it's horrible because you're dying, and you don't want. Now, how many people who now are working from home aren't going to take that sick day and are going to push through it and be miserable?
That's true.
I don't know, be less productive, and I don't know. There's a whole. I think working from home has it has its ups and downs, but that's one of them is that you can mask what's going on, I guess.
Well, it's funny with our staff. We've got to think. If you don't get, a lot of us are part-time staff, right? So if you don't get someone to cover you, you got to come and work. Because at the end of the day, it might be a BS excuse that you don't want to come to work, and that's fine. You have your leeway. They all know it. If you're watching, you know the deal. If you have somewhere to go, get coverage. I don't care where you are. Get someone to cover your shift. And so sometimes, are you dying? Like, I don't feel good. You have a headache, you have a cold, you have a cough. Are you in bed? You can't move. When they say no, I'm like, okay, well, then it's your responsibility to get someone to work for you. Otherwise, we're on the hook and we've got nobody to work. 8 times out of 10, they show up. And I will tell you, once in a blue moon, I like to be fair, just go back home.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. I'm glad you made the attempt, or they don't even try and they show up like, wait a second, why didn't you just come? like, I knew I couldn't get someone to cover for me.
Oh.
You didn't even try. Like, try. Let's but if you really don't feel good, and now I don't know what we're going to be dealing with moving forward. You know, employee health checks are one of the requirements for a workplace. So checking temperatures, whatever it might be. So if you don't feel good, don't come to work. So now I don't want any of their BS excuses that you can't come to work, so you better be sick. But it's going to be a challenge for all of us, even in office space, depending on whatever kind of work you're doing. And it's going to be strenuous on the other employees.
Yeah, it's very true.
And I'm not just talking about COVID, I'm just talking about anything. I don't feel good today. My girlfriend broke up with me last night. I drank too much at the bar last night.
These are all good reasons to stay home.
Yeah. We could talk a lot about that. We've got some crazy stories. Laura Hepworth says she hasn't dined out, just takeout. She's only gone out to doctor appointments. I think Laura's keeping herself locked up at home. Diane, it's nice to see you in person.
Yes.
It's Thursday, so typically we would normally be together for Rotary at night time. And so last week was the first time we got together.
Nice.
What was supposed to be a social distancing effort was maybe a little less social distancing than we had planned, but everybody was excited to be with each other.
The Staten parking lot.
Come on. All right. I don't know. That's not pathetic. That's actually very cool.
We meet every
I want to see
week.
pictures. Can you send me
I
pictures?
have pictures. We'll show them and send them.
And it was Frank's installation as president.
Yeah, so we meet every week at the Staten to begin with. So it came up. Thank you. We finally want to get together. And so, hey, why don't we just go to our normal meeting place? Well, Tony Scarpa joined us. Of course, he didn't serve us drinks, but he joined us, and we didn't recognize him. He's got a beard, he's got a tan, he's wearing shorts.
Yeah, he's a white shirt.
Yeah, didn't even know.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it was just nice to see everybody in person. But we've been meeting virtually every week, and which has been great. Everybody for the most part, everybody's embraced it. But everybody's schedule is so different. Naz and I were talking about this the other day on the show, where now you have to get up and go to a meeting. Right, so if you have to get up in the morning or the afternoon, I gotta go. Like there's plenty of excuses you can come up with not to go if you're comfortable. But right now it's even worse because you're only meeting on the computer. I'm hanging out with my kids. I now have dinner at 7:00. Whereas before you had to get up and go for dinner at 7:00. Where now, so we don't see certain people because we know they're having dinner with their kids or whatever they're doing. But it should be the easiest way to at least connect with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it's been this whole dynamic that's kind of forced the learning at home, the digital environment.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nice to see you in person again.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for having me. That was very nice.
It's Thursday, so every Thursday we know the deal. We're talking food, and Pam's our guest. Today she was our guest host, so it's in Nazareth. Somebody was asking, Naz is okay. She had just a couple things going on, a delivery that was supposed to show up at the bowling center this morning, wound up at her house in this afternoon, and so they are, she was talking, they ordered a new sandblast to do additional work for the awards business, so some of the work will be done probably out of their garage for a little while. We're doing some moving pieces, so, but Naz is A-okay, Ray is okay, nobody's sick, nobody's got a problem, just schedule. Happy Thursday. Thanks for being here. This was episode 95.
Oh, nice.
And guess what, Pam? Next Thursday, we have to figure out where we're going.
Okay.
Thanks, episode 100.
Wow. Oh, I'm not.
Isn't this crazy?
Have Diane come back.
We should have
a big
it.
reunion.
We're talking about
Maybe
having some sort
in
of
the Staten parking lot.
the Staten parking lot.
Yeah, we'll do it.
It was like a tailgate party. It
Oh,
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Gloriana has this baby blue pickup truck. That would be kind of funny, to see like a not a hillbilly truck, but like a country bumpkin.
But if she's going to a party, she's going to dress it up with flowers and do the whole. She's going to be dressing that up as could be knowing. It was a luau theme party that Diane decided last minute to make because Party City is open. So we didn't know Party City is open.
Wow. Yes. We are officially in phase 2, right?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Crazy. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part and watching today. If you're just tuning in for the first time, go back and watch some other episodes. Yesterday, we had former MLB Mets pitcher Nelson Figueroa on. We talked about baseball, the new season, which this week everybody's reporting.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be exciting to have some baseball by the end of the month.
That's great. I have to have my kid.
So go back and check in. And every Thursday, we're here on the road with Pam al fresco style until further notice. Monday to Friday, we're playing around with the time. So the last couple of days, we're at 1 o'clock. We're back at our regular time today. But next week, we might have a new scheduled time. People are, to your point, back to work. We just talked about that. So we're not doing this at dinner time. So we're going to come. We're just going to play with the time and see. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow here live at 2 o'clock. See you then.